We can start.
Uh, Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us on our second webinar. Uh, the first webinar was hosted on the 5th of May, and we had an extensive and detailed discussion about all the questions that you may have had about our MSc Economics program. We decided that there may have been some of you who still needed some more guidance and or could not attend the webinar. So we are doing this entire um, information exchange again for your benefit. I have my colleagues with me over here, including our director, Professor Jyoti Chandiramani. Um, we will invite her to speak about the institution and place her opening remarks. Uh, Subsequently, we will take turns, we'll introduce ourselves, and we will proceed with the rest of our discussion. Thank you. I welcome Dr. Jyoti Chandiramani to please start with the webinar.
A very good afternoon to all of you. Thank you, Ishita. That little video gave you a little sense of what SSE is about, but I'll go a step further. SSE was established in 2008. We belong to the University Symbiosis International University. Symbiosis, its very name, it talks about a symbiotic relationship, coming together of various stakeholders, coming together of different perspectives, and trying to create a world-class university with knowledge being created and disseminated in the best possible manner. Excellence is like the horizon. You keep reaching forward to it and you keep striving hard, and it's always that much further. I'm so happy that we have a number of you here today, whether it's Akanksha, Amrit, Ankita, and many more that I can see on my screen out here. The very essence of Symbiosis, its vision, its motto is Vasudev Kutumbakam. The world is one village. The world is surely one village, and the pandemic has taught us how 193 countries and more have got the pandemic that has impacted everybody, that we moved from 100% face-to-face classroom to 100% offline classroom. So the world has had its impact even in the manner in which we teach. So let me tell you one thing for sure, that we are capable of doing both very brilliantly. We've done it well with the 100% face-to-face. We experimented with the 100% online, had a good blend of synchronous and asynchronous teaching. And we're going to move on with a hybrid mode as times go by. So I'm looking forward to many of you taking your vaccination, getting your admission into various universities wherever you aspire. I hope you're going to choose Symbiosis as your destination. Looking forward to that. A destination of a university which has had its existence as a society for more than 50 years and as a university since 2002. With respect to Symbiosis School of Economics, we have been around since 2008, and we have had a curriculum which has been tried, tested, and our alumni at the MSc level, which are more than 400 in number, have done very well for themselves with the given program structure, the given knowledge that has been disseminated. We have a brilliant set of faculty, both in-house as well as we are able to get them from all over now, because through the online mode, geographical boundaries have no bounds. In fact, people are even willing to talk at different times, even though the time zone does not agree with them. People are happy to network and interact with students and make a difference. We are an institution which is extremely conscious about its social responsibility. The very courses that we have, the specializations that we have, be it development studies, which will be talked to by Barun, be it trade, where Ishita would give you further details, um, be it finance, where Ashtesha will talk to you about these issues, and me, I'll speak to you with respect to urban. Urban development is one of the specializations we offer at Symbiosis School of Economics. I feel each of you who come from different walks of life, it's going to make a great deal of difference, those of you who opt for this specialization. For example, we had a student from Kurukshetra, and the girl from Kurukshetra said that, the district has hardly any planning with respect to urban. So she has done an entire framework on this. I'll ask Ishita to take over from here because I just need to answer the doorbell. Ishita, please take over from me, and I'll just come back in a minute.
So, uh, like ma'am said that there are 4 specializations in the School of Economics. I will not talk about urban because I leave that to her. She's the expert here. What I will do is I will quickly tell you about the international trade specialization. Now, when SSC started with the MSc economics program, international trade and development studies were the 2 specializations that were originally uh, offered. So, international trade broadly explores the principles of economics related to the causes and effects of trade beyond geographical and political boundaries. This in return explains the patterns and consequences of transactions and interactions between the inhabitants of different countries, including trade, investment, migration, and other factors. Parts of the specialization also involve investigations of consequences of the trade activities on economies and perspectives of resources, preferences, institutions, so on and so forth. This specialization highlights the specialization modules, courses, highlights the angles of politico-economic policy variables on various world economies, and including, of course, India. You should be able to get a broad understanding of how to do these things, particularly in a post-globalized era and maybe a post-pandemic era now, if we could put it that way. A lot of jobs are available in this area of work later on. I'm going to chip in when we talk about placements in a while. But as of now, international trade is briefly uh, what I described to you in short. Uh, I would, ma'am is back here. So ma'am, would you like to take on the urban development specialization?
Okay. Thank you, Ishita. No. See, everyone, as I said, Symbiosis School of Economics, as Ishita also told you, is offering 4 specializations at the master's. And I thought I would talk about urban. I talked to you about a student from Kurukshetra. I'll tell you another student who's from, from Bellary. And we've had people from Chandigarh, from all over. And each one tells us what are the urban woes they face. They come up with the case studies. This kind of urban development module that has been created for specialization in the second year has a lot that can prepare you for what is a gig economy, an economy where sometimes there are projects, sometimes there are work. You could be a consultant, you could work with think tanks, you could be with ADB. A very simple story. We did a case study on Nanded city where an architect talked about how the urban mobility needs to be transformed over there. And then, with the transformation case study that he put forward, he became associated with Asian Development Bank. So whether it is ADB, whether it is World Bank, whether it is you know NIUA, that is National Institute for Urban Affairs, etc., the whole curriculum prepares you with the framework, because the world is going to get increasingly urban. It is already 57% urban. With India, we have to have an urban transformation. So what is going to go into it? It's one of the most interdisciplinary curriculums that have been stitched together, which brings in governance, which brings in planning, which brings in factors like land economics, urban finance. So the labor and the capital part of it is kind of covered, um, uh, uh, and the land as the most important factor of production. So we have started this specialization since 2016, and we are happy to say that our students have done well. Not only with urban, but with all the specializations, we find that our students have really moved forward and they have surpassed the expectations. So really, SSC is a place that you as students would come. And why would you come here? You would come here because you've obviously done your research, you've done your homework. The curriculum is well evolved. You will go out with skill sets. The environment is friendly, the environment is in academically rigorous. It teaches you to pose critical questions, it teaches you critical analysis, it helps you to understand softwares, it helps you to do analytics, data analytics in whichever field that you choose to do, you choose to specialize in, whether it is the stock market, whether it is the labor market, any of the markets that you choose, you would be able to use the skill sets and the quantitative applications in a manner that you would be able to, wherever you're presenting your work, you would be able to make a difference. I just want to tell you one thing before I sign off and leave you with my very capable team, with Ishita Ghosh, who is the program in charge of the MSc program, Varun, who is also teaching at the Masters, and he is going to tell you about development studies. He's a very keen researcher, very keen learner, and always willing to put in his best foot forward to deep dive into issues and problems. Ashdesha, who has been with the corporate world, with the banks, and now has moved into academics. So she brings in the right blend of both professionalism of the corporate world as well as the teaching learning, so that we can match it beautifully. And Shilpi will give you all other inputs with respect to the end, with respect to the personal interview, etc., that is scheduled, and the dates that are for the admission process. So coming here, I just have introduced this whole team. I say that SSC provides you with a great platform, good teachers, good curriculum, a certain set of skill sets. You will go back being associated with a great university, a good and a and an evolving institution, which where we all strive hard to get only better. A great city, Pune is a great city, and you're going to make so many friends and networks around here. They're going to be your people for a lifetime, who are going to stand supporting you through your journey of life, taking along with you lifelong learning skills. So over to the team, and more about the MSc program when we see you in person. Welcome to this webinar, and hand over back to you, Ishita. Sorry for the
Ma'am.
interruption that was there. My humble apologies to all of you. All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time and your inputs. Thank you. Varun, would you like to continue from here?
Yeah, sure. First of all, welcome everyone. Development economics, development studies. When we talk about, we are looking at GDP numbers, per capita incomes, but when we talk about human development, which the term Amartya Sen and coined. So here is that is why we study development economics. That is why we study development studies, because the main aim of economics, as we understand with the definition of economics, that the resources are scarce. And that is why we look for inclusive development, equitable development. And what we see in the present scenario or in past few decades, that the income inequalities among the countries have increased. And from this perspective, it becomes all the more important to look from the theoretical perspective about what is the reasons that causes such inequitable development. So if you would have seen our syllabus, the development studies, if you would look at our program structure. So if you go to our website in our academics in MSc Economics, you could see the program structure. And if you'll see, we have a whole specialization in the second year. Like we have 4 specialization. One of the specialization is development studies. So generally in the past, we have seen that the students who are really interested to understand, to know more about development, because development is one phenomena in which different aspects are covered, whether it is labor aspect, whether it is human development, whether it is rural development, and apart from it, other theories of development. There are many theories of development. So the whole idea is that in the courses, we give you an analytical approach, a textbook approach, and then simultaneously with the help of case studies, our internal assessment projects, we try to observe those, how have those theories been developed, or how can we relate with the real developments and with the theory. So if you would see, we have an interesting course on market, institutions and development. We try to understand the analytical framework of transaction cost economics, because in the microeconomics we have learned about that the human beings are rational. And then we have Oliver Williamson coining the term bounded rationality, that human beings are not always rational. So we bring in new theories of new institutional economics, transaction cost economics, to understand how do institutions function, because institutions play an important role in community development. And from in the when we look at the rural development, we look at what are the approaches for rural development, because what we see is the larger number of poor people residing in the rural areas. Now when it comes to the job prospects, what do we matlab, how would a graduate who have done development studies, what kind of jobs are he could look at? There are different think tanks, there are different universities, research institutions who look to hire master graduates who can play a role of research associates, who can work on research projects, because with the data, with the field experiences, and with the training of research. So we have a 6 credit research methodology course, you have a dissertation which you have to do it in your second year. So those skills which you have learned during your masters, you would be able to apply in a real projects, the projects which are based on development aspects, or which are based on development sectors, that way. So that is why a person who's really interested in knowing or very keen on understanding development or different facets of development studies specialization will be very helpful, and will be a very good choice. Over to you, Ishita ma'am.
Thank you, Varun. Um, I would request my colleague, Dr. Ashlesha, to talk about the finance specialization. This is a new specialization that we have introduced, and it has run its course for the first time with our graduating batch of 2021. Ashlesha, over to you.
Thanks, Ishita. And good afternoon, everyone. I'm Ashlesha. So I'll just tell you briefly about the specialization. So as you must be aware, finance is a very broad area, and we have introduced subjects into the course, into the specialization that uh, would allow you to take your career further in the in the world of finance, basically, and banking. So we cover subjects like derivatives markets, portfolio management, financial economics, financial modeling. Uh, we have actuarial economics, which may help you to understand about how to calculate risk. And you can then, if that is something which interests you, you can look for a career in the insurance sector or even in consulting. We have also behavioral finance, which, when combined with portfolio management, helps you to, if you want a career in, say, wealth management or financial advisory. We have, like I said, corporate finance, and that would help you for if you're looking at something in the the finance department of a corporate, where you would be looking more at project financing and day-to-day business of an organization. The derivatives markets, financial economics will help, provides a base if you want to make a career in trading, right? As a trader on the equities markets or any other asset market. So we have a number of subjects like put together for the finance specialization. The whole idea being that you learn everything, and you have the opportunity to further specialize yourself in a particular area, as Varun mentioned about the dissertation. So you can do further research and understand that particular subject better. And you can look forward to all kinds of opportunities in finance. I would say it would be on par with MBA finance, the opportunities which are available to an MBA in finance. So you will have the same, if not better, skill set, actually. So that's it from me, Shita, about finance.
Thank you, Ashlesha. I will want to, at this point in time, let you know that our instruction styles at SSC is very heavily based on research, okay, and hands-on experiential learning. We have classroom learning. There are certain courses, very core theoretical courses which require traditional classroom learning, but all courses have a good mix of classroom instruction as well as a lot of case study based, hands-on case study building, collecting data, crunching that data, finding insights from that data, presenting your ideas, understanding how the data collection could be improved, understanding how this data could give us more insights. If recommendations can be made from these insights, if policy, advocacy, advisory, etc., can come out of this kind of learning, is what we base our, we pitch our teaching accordingly. You will have to understand that the typical chalk and talk and the traditional school or college level learning that you've had so far at your undergrad, you will have to move out of that comfort zone and start doing many things to broaden your horizon. And you have to learn in a way that will help you apply what you have studied. Otherwise, it does not make sense. Okay, so this is briefly what our instructional style is about. We also have specific courses for research methodology. We have a research based dissertation. Our internship also requires a lot of understanding of how to write professionally, and there are going to be plenty of opportunities to learn about academic writing. Okay, you will realize later on in your work life, whether you remain an academician or whether you get into research, advisory, advocacy, or into the corporate, that good, sound communication skills, written and spoken skills, are very crucial in this day and age. And a lot of what you make or break depends on how you have communicated the insights that you already have. Oftentimes we have great insights, but we are not able to translate them into material that can be made amenable for further action. So At the School of Economics, we try to help you inculcate these skills and improve them and hone them and prepare you for the real world where you can apply these things with a lot of confidence, right? Uh, I will ask Dr. Astesha to come back again and briefly talk about our placements and the kind of work that our students have been doing so far, the ones who have graduated. Over to you, Astesha.
Thanks. I'll just share the screen. Is it visible?
Yes.
The presentation? Okay, thanks.
Yes.
Right. So this is a brief about what the placement cell of the MSc, what we do at SSC. Now, the placement cell is basically it's run by the students. Varun and I just kind of supervise, but as you can see, there are a lot of things. So we try to help you bridge that gap between your life as a student and being employable, or how life is going to be when you start working, right? So we start with simple things like how do you write your CV, how should you present your skills. So we do workshops with you on the CV, workshops on business etiquette and grooming. We conduct mock interviews so that you have a practice of speaking when you're giving the interview, because sometimes it's the first time you're ever giving an interview in your life and you can be nervous. So we give you that feedback about what can be improved while you're doing the mock interviews. We also are associated with Symbiosis Center for Emotional Well-being. So we have courses, we have a workshop also on emotional wellness, and we take that very seriously. We want to support our students in all ways possible. So, if there are any, if you're having any challenges or you're dealing with something which is bothering you, then we have counselors also from the center that you can connect with and talk to. We also run practice aptitude tests because that is one of the rounds in a placement process. So typically that will be the first round in the placement process, where you have to get through the aptitude test first before you can be interviewed. So we have practice rounds of the aptitude tests. We do career counseling on an individual level. So each student who joins the MSc program has an individual session for career counseling, so they can get clarity on, which specialization can I take, what careers are available after that, how should I develop myself, um, for that career that I want. As Dr. Ishita mentioned, you are going to have to shift a little bit from what you're used to in graduation, because there is a lot of self-development that you have to do on your own, right? So, we encourage that as well. We organize batches from different industries, so they can give you feedback about what kind of work they are doing and the kind of jobs that you can look forward to. And we also, have workshops on business communication as well. So all of these activities are done during your time at SSC, and the objective is to be able to help you get a good job after you're done. So the return on your investment here at SSC would be good. So this is brief. I've made a list of all the recruiters from different industries. Most of them are campus recruitments. So our students join as freshers. So they are at the entry level. So usually their role is something like a research analyst or research associate. These are the kind of companies that come to campus from their international organizations, some government of India institutions. we have, so there's analytics, there's market research. We also have companies coming from the banking and finance sector, where you can look forward, as I mentioned earlier, to as a financial analyst or as a credit risk analyst, or the other ones I mentioned before about trading and wealth management, etc. From the different NGOs, research institutes, think tanks, again, international, national level coming to campus for hiring. Also, many of our students go to other academic institutions to become academic researchers. So that this is a list of those. So NIPFP, that is National Institute for Public Finance and Policy, TIS, IIM, IRMA, Institute for Rural Management in Anand. So they go on from here to, become research associates in these organizations or academic associates in these organizations, and then they move on from there. So as you can see, there is a wide range of to having a job in, right? And we have a number of recruiters coming to campus and a number of alumni working in these areas as well, right? So just to give you last year's distribution of industry-wise distribution of where students were placed, most of our students got a job in analytics. So as Dr. Ishita mentioned, we also are quite strong when it comes to quant skills, and that's how many of our students are able to get jobs in analytics, which as most of you may be aware, that's the hot trending job right now. Many of them get into market research as well, and then the rest are distributed between the other areas. So that's briefly how our last year's batch has moved out of SSC and into the working world. So that's it from me.
Thank you, Ashlesha. Since Ashlesha was talking about research and analytics, etc., and I also mentioned to you that we put a lot of stress on research and data crunching. Just wanted to tell you a little bit more that we do take a lot of effort and initiative to help our students recognize socioeconomic problems and then try and undertake projects pertaining to some problem that they find is relevant, intriguing, needs looking into, etc. And through these hands-on projects and the research effort that they have undertaken, we try to imbibe into them research skills that require understanding what is a research question, creating a research design, collecting data, drawing inferences from the data analysis, making observations from these exercises, etc. We also prepare students for a formal internship in various corporate and government enterprises as well as NGOs. The research methodology courses actually, there are two courses at the BSc and at the MSc levels, prepares the students to get a hands-on flavor of what research is like when you do it one-on-one, on-site, in the field, or even with secondary data. We also teach our students a lot of software such as R, Stata, SPSS, Python, etc. And you will already know that these are software that or programming languages that are in demand in the real world, as in your work life, in the corporate. You need these things. Even if you're not in the corporate and you're in some kind of research based position, you need this kind of software in this day and age. There is also a dissertation that the student needs to undertake as a partial fulfillment to the program. And this is essentially a final testimony of experiencing the process of producing knowledge, managing a project from the beginning to the end, and the ability to consolidate communication, information seeking, and intellectual skills in the academic setting. A lot of students have produced such wonderful pieces of work in terms of their dissertation thesis. Either they have been recruited on the basis of that, or they have uh, been given admission into higher studies abroad because the work was so sound. So that is one of the major learning points at SSC. Also, there is this, we have a few centers in the School of Economics. There is a Center for Academic Writing, because we spoke about research and we spoke about grooming yourselves for the world of work and research and advisory, etc., etc. It is important that you know how to write. Uh, like I mentioned before, there is an academic setting for writing and there is a professional setting for writing. So the Symbiosis School of Economics has a Center for Academic Writing. And again, because we spoke so much about data crunching and insights and research, there is also a Center for Qualitative Learning and Applications. Both these centers are very active in hand-holding all kinds of scholars and researchers and helping them write and get insights from the information that they are working with. Not only that, our sister institutes, such as the Symbiosis School of Statistics, the AI center that we have in our tech school, and such like, collaborate with us, and uh, we co-learn as students and as teachers. Uh, there is also another center or cell for behavioral and experimental economics. If Ashlisha would quickly tell the students what that is about.
Yeah, thanks. So we have this cell where basically we help the students who wish to do their dissertation in behavioral or in experimental economics. We help them with the software, we help them with understanding concepts and guide on how to conduct, because this is a fairly new area, and conducting an experiment is very different from doing secondary research or a primary. So we guide the students on that. And we have plans of collaborating with other institutes to take on research projects, basically, so that maybe our students would be able to also get the experience of doing a live project or interning on a live project in this space of behavioral and experimental economics. That's it from me. Thanks.
Thank you, Ashlisha. So one last thing that I wanted to mention about the school is that we at SIU, that is the Symbiosis International University, we have a lot of MOUs that have been signed with other international universities and institutions abroad. So if there is any chance of a semester exchange or any kind of exchange, academic exchange for the student, we have a lot of facilities and a lot of opportunities available, which the student can avail of once they have enrolled themselves into the program. I just wanted to mention here that in case you have not attended this webinar on the 5th of May when it was first run, you will have access to the recording through the website, also on our YouTube channel of the Institute. That webinar was a longer webinar, a more comprehensive webinar. A student representative was also present that time, and many more colleagues. Because we have covered all grounds, we are keeping this short. We will jump on to, you can check out all the details over there. You can check out all the details of our program structure, the dates of our admission process, and the timeline. All communication, etc., will come to you. I want to add here that you will only be doing a personal interaction with a panel. There is no uh, there is no exam of any kind. There is no entrance exam. Neither is there any kind of written uh, test that you need to appear for on the day of your interview. That was something that we used to do previously, but since the pandemic has come upon us, we have sorry, that was the 15th of May, not the 5th of May. I beg your pardon. It was on the 15th of May, the last webinar. So we do not have anything other than a personal interaction with the panelists. We are now open for questions. Please type in your questions and address it to everyone so that whoever can pitch in will respond to your query. Thank you.
Ishita ma'am, meanwhile, I'll just like to pitch in. Meanwhile, as you
Yes,
are typing in
yes.
your questions, that at SSC we also pitch in for experiential learning. So the compulsory internship segment. So the placement cell also facilitates students getting internships so that they can work on live projects with research institutions. Apart from the dissertation which we have in the second year, and we have a lot of extracurricular activities also simultaneously happening around the year, so that the students get an exposure of, they can also show their various talents. So we have sports, we have different clubs. We have around 10 active clubs, whether it is debating club, whether it is raga club, which is on music. So as in, there's a lot much happening life in SSC. It's not just studies. So if Malab, you will definitely have a great time being here in the wonderful city of Pune.
I'll just come in. Good evening, everybody. So I have few questions regarding the PI process. Ishita ma'am has already told you about that there is no entrance test as such. The list will be displayed on the 21st of June that you can check on our website. The PIs are going to happen on 1st, 2nd, and 3rd of July. We will be opening a form for you where you have to choose in the specified date and time for your PI when you want to take it, your preference, and based on that your PI will be conducted. The PI is going to be online, so and it will happen on Zoom, so the link and all will be shared to you in advance. All the communication will be done through email to you all, so just keep checking your emails and keep checking SSC's website. So everything is going to be online, so just do not worry about that, and just keep checking the dates and the website.
Right. There are some questions here. Hmm. Shilpi, the
Yes,
questions
ma'am.
on the sheet, are these new?
Yes, new ones, ma'am. Yeah.
Okay, new ones. So let me just quickly answer them. Someone has asked if one wants to go for the analytical side, what would one prefer, MSc Economics or Statistics? Uh, Statistics will essentially train you in number crunching and nothing else, which is going to be very, very focused as far as uh, analytics are concerned. But if you want to explore your analytical side and use number crunching to be able to solve problems in the field of economics, then economics is uh, better suited, naturally. Someone else has asked me, which areas should I focus on for the personal interview? The personal interaction is essentially, and this is for all of you, thank you for this question. The personal interaction is essentially to gauge whether you are suited to this program, if you will be able to manage the pressures of the program, because we have a lot of applicants from various backgrounds. It's very heterogeneous. You do not have to uh, have economics and maths and stats as an option in your undergrad to be able to apply to uh, the School of Economics. You could have been a science student, you could have been a commerce student, you may or you may not have had economics, you may or you may not have had maths or stats. That's perfectly fine. But we need to know that when you get admitted into the School of Economics, you will be able to take care of the rigor of the courses that are there. Uh, do you have the aptitude to do so? And that is what we basically have a chat about with the student. We also want to understand what your favorite subjects have been, and if you follow anything in the news which is national or international that interests you and from which you have formed your own opinions, etc. And we try to see if you will be able to cope with the change in the level of instruction and the new exposure that you will have to research, number crunching, uh, intense analytics, etc. There's another question. Okay, the third question seems to have disappeared. Okay, so I just have two questions here. Um, and will the recording of this meeting be shared to Shilpi? Are we sharing this recording as well?
Yes, ma'am. We will put this up on YouTube, and the link will be there on our website.
Okay. Uh, there is another interesting of were most students from a cohort were selected for a job or academic fellowship? Kiran, I have not exactly understood what you're trying to say. If you could rephrase your question. In the meantime, we'll move on to the next question. Where will the entrance exam be conducted? The entrance exam will be online, Aishi. If one wants to, there is no entrance exam, by the way. It's going to be an interaction, like I mentioned, and it is going to be an online thing because we do not know when the state government will allow us to open the uh, campuses for the students to physically come. As of now, till further instructions, we will conduct this online. If one wants to learn about a nation's economy functions, which out of the four options should be chosen? Uh, you need to understand, Ishan, you need to understand how a nation's economy functions first before you choose any one of the four specializations that you have. This is your default state. You have to understand how nations work. And that is your first 2 semesters of the program. I think I have responded to your question. Will the recording be shared? Is today the last day to apply for admissions? Shilpi,
Ma'am, it's till
if you
21st of June. 21st of June, they can register and pay.
and for all of you, please refer to the dates mentioned on the website. It is very clearly given. All instructions are very, very clearly given. Can a student pursuing Article 6 for CA also do this program? Yes, of course you can. Can you, Priyam has asked, can you please speak about GE and VAT? No, we do not have anything called a GE or VAT. Like I said, it is only going to be based on a personal interaction. Okay. Right. Ashlesha, would you like to answer Kiran's question here about 100% placements?
Yeah, sure. So basically, all of our students do not look for placement. That is, the whole batch doesn't look for placement. Some go on to do PhD, some go on to do another master's. But most of the students who are looking for jobs, uh, I would say they get through campus placement, and those who don't, uh, they eventually they do get something. So they do find, maybe they are looking for something which is in a very niche area, which doesn't fall into a campus recruitment, because when there is a campus recruitment, the companies usually, they're looking for bigger numbers. And in a particular, which is a more popular kind of a job, like say analytics, if you're looking for something which is a little niche or different than what is normal, then that doesn't happen through campus recruitment. But we do assist the students with contacts and helping them to get jobs in different areas, like say something particular which they want to do in urban, which is not part of the campus recruitment, particular role or job description. So then we help them get those links and find work. Yeah, that's it.
Right. Thank you, Ashlesha. Any other queries? In fact, watch the webinar that is already recorded and available for you. All the questions that you may have about the PI process and the admission process and the dates and everything about curriculum and about placements and research, everything has been covered. So you may want to take a look at that recording, and I'm sure all your queries will be resolved. And please also make sure that you have read through all the relevant tabs and pages and sections that pertain to MSc Economics, especially the admission section. Again, the website thoroughly covers all the queries that you may have. If there are any network problems during the PI, can we reschedule it? Of course you can. Of course you can. We will have that kind of flexibility.
Okay, I think, ma'am, there are no further queries
No
then.
further questions, yes.
Yeah, so they can write an email to us, and the numbers are there on the screen. So there's one more query that Kiran has. Can you elaborate a little on internal and external marks, ma'am? Yeah.
Kiran, internal and external marks will depend on the course that you are taking. Typically, a master's course is of 4 credits. When at the master's level, you have 60% of your credits as an internal and 40% as an external examinations. In certain cases, you may have 100% internal course, which basically means that the entire marks that the course is worth is going to be internally assessed, but then that makes it even more difficult in terms of the evaluation. The level of evaluation is more difficult because it is 100% internal. Uh, Depending on your core courses, your electives, etc., we have a very well balanced internal external measure for evaluation that is taken. So uh, once you if you take a quick look at the program structure, you will get a fair idea. Do we have the autonomy to choose our specialization, or is it assigned based on your evaluation? We do have it's both ways. Thank you for that question. It is both ways. We do have um, partial autonomy, and we have a certain amount of evaluation based assignment of your specialization as well. Uh, there are 4 specializations. It does not make sense if one specialization has no takers. So we try to balance out the number of students across the specializations, and we have seen that 9 out of 10, it works wonderfully in the end. So that's about specializations at SSE. Any other questions? Right. Shall we then conclude this webinar?
Yes, ma'am, I think we can.
We can, right? Thank you so much, everyone. I want to thank my colleagues, want to thank all the participants for your time and your interest. And we look forward to meeting you in the PI. Please register, please look up all the information that you need. If you have any further clarifications that you require, do write to us. We will respond to your questions at the earliest. Thank you so much. Have a good day and stay safe.